Hello, networkers, and welcome back to another episode of Ask the Network Engineer. My name is Michael Tomatis, and if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and click on that little bell to get notified of new videos that I release. I release videos on Ask the Network Engineer, off topic, and other kind of fun stuff that is networking related. So check that out, subscribe, and let's get started with this episode. So for this particular episode, I want to talk about university education and how it relates with being a network engineer. And there were three questions that actually came up in regards to something around university education. So I want to read those questions now. So the first one, let me actually zoom in here a little bit on my notes, is from Jerome Brewer. And the question was, what do you think about attending a four-year university and or securing a networking internship along with or before getting certified? Another question was from Jed Hav, and he says that he's 32 years old and he wants to change his field, I guess to be a CCNA or to become a CCNA, and if that's good for him, and that he completed his MBA. And the other question was from Pine, and he is a CCNA certified person, and he plans to finish his degree, but in his country, the colleges do not offer networking. It does not offer a network engineering degree. So he has to choose from either two kind of careers or kind of majors in college. One is as a engineer, as a electronic engineer, and computer science. So his question is, which one would you recommend or have more, I guess, that has more of a relation with being a network engineer? So a lot of these, again, these particular questions are really surrounding around the idea of going to college, and is there a particular college program where I can become a network engineer outside of just taking a CCNA certification? Because all of you, based on your questions here, you are CCNA certified, but you're looking for more of a established kind of system for becoming a network engineer. So let me go ahead and start talking about some of this stuff here in this particular video. Okay, so this is a very common question that I get, or I think I have gotten for the past couple of years. And that is going through, again, a university or college to kind of gain the experience or understanding as being a network engineer. And the issue with that is that education for IT typically is not done through a university type system. It is done through one of the following ways of how you can get the education of the fundamentals and the hands-on and things like that. The first one obviously is certification. Certifications provides a particular track or process of how you, there's the books. And very quickly, let me get one of my books here because I saw it right here and I thought it'd be a good addition. Okay, this is an older book, by the way, but this was my CCNA book, or at least one of them. Basically, you get your little CCNA book, you go ahead, you read everything, you learn the concepts, you do the hands-on, you build your labs, you take the exam, and you're certified. That's really the most effective way of learning and education for becoming a network engineer. Another one is with technical learning. And technical learning, like going to a classroom environment, like a boot camp class. There are particular classes by Global Knowledge. There's many of these kind of companies out there, but Global Knowledge is a company that has classes where they teach you about networking concepts, and there could be hands-on labs. You can ask questions, like maybe you're reading something in your CCNA book that you don't understand, and well, who do you talk to? And then typically what happens is that you go ahead and you do some Google searches, you find like a support forum, you may find my channel, you're asking questions because you're looking for more details, especially if you're starting out. That's really a big deal. And a classroom environment is really good for that. On a boot camp class, that's probably more extreme because a boot camp is like basically like a full week class, 8 hours a day, and they go through stuff really, really hard. Like cramming everything in. And I typically do not recommend for people who are starting out because you will be overwhelmed. That's for people who've been been doing networking for a while and they want to get their CCIE or something higher, and they want to get that concentration of so much information at one time. There's also self-learning, and self-learning works for others. It does not. I had an episode where I talked about that. But self-learning is that you're getting the actual books. You're doing the reading, you're doing the hands-on kind of stuff there. You're looking at video training, you're getting websites. That's kind of the self-learning components. And for me being a network engineer, I went to the approach of self-learning. Now, of course, at the time it was very limited, but I got all the kind of Cisco Press books that I could get. I read it, I did the labs. It was self-learning for me. I did not do any kind of a class. So you got certifications, you got the technical kind of learning of classrooms and boot camps and self-learning, things like that. But also it is with entry IT experience. Experience is required. I'm just going to kind of put it out there. And the best way is getting the computer is, gaining experience with, going to computer support. That's kind of where you start first as an entry level. Then from there, you're looking at becoming a NOC or a technical support person or a network technician. You want to look for those kind of opportunities while you're getting the certifications. You are getting the technical learning. So that's really the most effective way that you can become a network engineer. Now, if you are looking for more of a university type track, like you really want to go into a university and do something that is closely related to networking, right? You do your CCNA, you do the self-learning, you do the technical class, but you still want something that's more of a university path, right? I understand that. So here's some suggestions here. So there are some schools, there are some junior colleges that do have like a Cisco Academy, kind of Cisco learning kind of program. And I'm close to my bookshelf here, so that's why I can access my books quickly. This is actually one particular book here, Cisco Systems Networking Academy. This is an older book, by the way, so much older. But this kind of follows like most of the junior colleges. If they have like a Cisco kind of class, they have classes like this, like teaching you really at the CCNA basic level. There aren't no classes in college, well, as of now, that are for more of the advanced kind of stuff, like the CCNP, the CCIE, and that sort of thing. It's all the basic stuff. So there is some classes in some colleges, but they're more for the junior colleges and not really for like a 4-year university. So now, when it comes to like majors and things like that, like what you can look into. So one particular major that I've seen that is closely related to networking is, I have it here, Computer Information Systems, or CIS. That is one particular major. It's not in all colleges, so you got to kind of do your research to see if that actually exists. But they may have some kind of networking related kind of topics that they will cover. It's still the very, very basics, but it's still something that is out there. And of course, another one is with computer science, but that's more with programming. But at the same time, that might be a very, very strong kind of thing that you want to do. So you have your networking skills that you can do with, again, certifications, self-learning, classroom, bootcamp classes. And then, of course, you have computer science, which is more of the programming components. Together, that provides network development, and being in that direction is a very, very good combination. So computer science is definitely a good thing. But again, even with computer science, they do not really focus on networking related topics like TCP, IP, routing, switching. That's not what they talk about. It is heavily based on programming. I tell people that. People think that computer science is it provides networking. It does not. One of my first majors in college was, probably like my second major in college, was computer science. And we did C++ programming. And I got kind of the full curriculum of what the particular classes would be for that program. And none of it was networking. Now, when I changed my major for a third time to like a electronics engineering type of degree, it was kind of like a electrical type of a degree in college. They had one particular class, and they started to talk about networking, but it was the very, very basic. The teacher did not know about IP or TCP. And I remember one of our assignments, actually though, I wanted extra credit. I was falling behind and I wanted some extra credit for my classes. And he says, well, Michael, I want you to get these computers in the lab and get them all networked together. Keep in mind that the networking back then, it wasn't Ethernet. It was, 10 base 5. It was the coaxial cables. Right. But hey, so that's what I did. I got all the computers all connected through coax cables, 10 base 5, all connected, configured the IP addresses. The computers back then were Windows NT. Actually, sorry, some were Windows NT, some were Windows 95. This is old stuff. Okay, remember, I graduated from college in 1998. Okay, I got my degree on one of my walls here. But that was an interesting thing there, that I built a network with these computers to talk to each other. And I never realized at that time that I wanted to get into networking. That later came about. But doing that was not part of the actual class. That was not something that was actually taught by the teacher, by the professor. It wasn't part of the curriculum. It was a small part that was like a 20-minute conversation in class about here's what networking is, here's what IP is. That was it. So building the lab that I talked about just now, that was extra credit. Okay. So again, from my experience, I have never seen colleges have a particular networking path. Like, I want to be a network engineer, so let me major in a bachelor's of science for network engineering. That doesn't exist because, again, there are other ways of how that education is obtained. So here are my final points about this. I can't tell you whether you should or you should not go to college. I said this many times before, but that is a personal choice, a personal decision that you have to take. From my experience, I felt like that going to college honestly was a waste of time. I wish I could have used the money from college for resources to become a network engineer. But honestly, I did not know that I really wanted to be a network engineer. I didn't know that. That happened probably towards the end of my senior year in college. I wanted to be an engineer where I actually would be making circuit boards, like in computers, that would be installed on, into systems, things like that. That's what I wanted to do. I did not really know if I wanted to go into networking. That was more solidified when I started working as a system admin in some other companies. And I was like, this is interesting. And I mentioned my other stories about what interested me really a lot. But when I started at Cisco, when I worked at Cisco, I think that was the spark that lit the flame for me to kind of explore this further. And well, the rest is history. So that's why I can say it's a waste of time now. But then I did not really know that networking was my particular path, right? Because again, I built that computer lab, never knowing this is what your career will be based on. And I never knew that at that time. Okay. And I think that's what college is. I think people give college a bad rap sometimes. College is giving you exposure to many different things so that you can determine what you like and what you don't like. And during that process, I kind of realized, including work experience, I was working in college. I had like part-time jobs related to building computers, and then it was servers, and then did a little bit of networking. Those planted seeds that were later explored further when I worked at companies like Cisco. It's like those seeds finally burst. And yeah, that's really how that goes. So again, it is your choice to determine if college is the best thing for you. I just kind of felt like that I'd never really gained all that money that was spent because I paid myself through college for all of that. And I wish, looking back now, I wish I could use that money and use it for labs, maybe do some boot camp classes. Who knows? I see the possibilities. So here's basically what I've learned. The bottom line is this: whatever you're doing, the more experience that you have, the more skill sets that you have, the more credentials or certification that you have, it will make you more opportunity desirable, I guess. I'm trying to find the right kind of word for that. It will present a lot more opportunities. That's the key thing. You want to become very experienced, very highly qualified. And when you're building out your resume will have all these things. And maybe that's something I kind of take for granted too, because I have a college degree. I have a minor in business management. I hated those classes, but it was part of one of the things I had to do in college. So I can say that maybe these opportunities happen for me because I have a college background, because I have a college degree, and I have certifications, and I have the experience. And those are very strong combinations. And honestly, when I got the job at the Department of Energy at the laboratory here in California, it was because of multiple of those kind of qualifications that I had in my resume. And that's what I really learned in the process. You want to be really, really qualified. And going to college, like in computer science, for example, if you do that and you do networking, like getting certified, I think that is a unbeatable combination right there. That is very, very powerful. Because remember, everything is getting automated. We're going in that particular path. And because of that, and of course, you got to understand networking. You can't automate something if you do not know the fundamentals or the foundation of networking. So that's really important. So I think that's really a great combination there. If you're going to college, computer science, and with the networking, you're doing things together because you're making a very strong portfolio of your experience. So that will be something that you could definitely consider. And before we conclude this video, I would recommend to check out some of our other past A&E episodes. Check out episode 6, 19, and one of my favorites, which is episode 76, to get more information about this topic of university education. And we're done with this episode. So if you have any questions about being a network engineer, post those questions below. If this video helped you and you want to support this channel further to see more video content, please support us at rodhub.net or at my Patreon page. That would mean a lot. And until next time, as always, keep networking.